I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee's going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions, only on Sport.
Welcome to hour number 2, live right here on this Thursday on the Early Line on SportsGrid. There is so much to get to here on this Thursday in a jam-packed show and a very, very full second hour. DRS, the 2025 United States Open at Oakmont is already underway, and some big names off to a very good start. We will check in on the odds and that live leaderboard in just a matter of moments. We mentioned Ludwig Oberg off to a 2-under start in his opening 2 holes. He has given one back to the course that is supposed to be the most difficult in the world. But Rory McIlroy, who won a green jacket in April to complete the career Grand Slam, and then since has been rather mediocre, is at the top of the leaderboard as well. 2 under par alongside J.J. Spawn. A lot to get to outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in just a little bit. We'll recap a Wednesday and a full slate around Major League Baseball and a fascinating story as well. We'll dive deeper, DRS, into the Stanley Cup Final, game number 4 tonight in Sunrise, and of course, game number 4 of the NBA Finals after the Pacers are triumphant as an underdog once again last night at home.
Yeah, I'm looking to get some eyes here on this U.S. Open because I do enjoy the test that they're going to have at this golf course and a lot of fun. Understand this, like you take a look, as you said, Rory McIlroy 2 under. All it takes, like you just miss a green slightly to the left or the right, and you're 10 yards off that green, but your ball is lost in the rough. Good luck getting that up and down, much less getting that up and down with 2 putts or 3 putts here for a double bogey at this point. That's what I'm interested, because this type of tournament, Ben, so many times you watch like Augusta National, sure, you can get yourself in trouble. Other golf tournaments like the PGA, you can recover shots down the stretch. You can have a 3-shot lead, Ben, with 3 shots to go and be like, I don't even know if I can close this out because one errant tee shot, well, I might be even after this hole. Forget about the final 2 holes. That's what's the fun part about this golf tournament, and I can't wait to watch it a little bit later on this afternoon.
The United States Open is known as the toughest test in golf each and every year for the entirety of it. And, of course, our 4 major championships in DRS at Oakmont, which the players themselves described as the hardest course in the world at this current moment, as Oakmont has been throughout the entirety of its time hosting the U.S. Open. 12 guys right now, still very early on this opening round Thursday, but 12 players right now in red figures and under par, including Rory and J.J. Spawn at the top, 2 under par at this moment. All right, we had a hot topic debate, if you will, at the end of the opening hour. I'm excited for your thoughts on this rather fascinating story, DRS, that is coming to light around Major League Baseball. Hunter Dobbins, a starting pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, made his first start in this rivalry against the Yankees on Sunday Night Baseball. Got the win for the Sox as they won that series and that finale. Before that start on Sunday evening up in the Bronx, Hunter Dobbins made some headlines as he was asked about pitching against New York and basically said, I would rather retire than ever play in pinstripes, citing some issues with his family. His father, he claimed, was drafted twice by the Yankees, signed with the Yanks after that second selection, and then was quickly dealt to the Arizona Diamondbacks, which led to the New York Post doing some further investigation and basically saying all of those claims are incorrect. All of the claims by Hunter Dobbins are false. There is no record whatsoever in the scouting department or in the game logs that Hunter Dobbins' dad ever played for the Yankees. And frankly, there are some questions he ever even played in the Diamondbacks organization either. So the New York Post posts this story, and then Hunter Dobbins was asked about it yesterday. Here's what he had to say.
To your first point, my feelings and all that they're based off of my personal experiences and nothing to do with growing up or family. And also it was a rivalry, so we're just having some fun. Jazz got into it too, and we had a good time about it. The whole backstory, stuff that I had heard growing up and, seen pictures of and, from my dad. So at the end of the day, it's just from my dad and what I kind of grew my love for the game. But at the end of the day, I don't go and fact check my dad or anything like that.
That's an all-time quote there, DRS. At the end, ahead of Father's Day weekend, but at the end of the day, I don't go and fact-check my dad or anything like that. The blind faith of a father-son relationship. To me, that's the true story. What do you make of this weird, quirky, not really all that serious, kind of fun Major League Baseball story in this rivalry?
Like, what is he talking about, though? It's like, all right, well, I saw the pictures. You saw your dad maybe in a Yankees hat when he was like 18. Like, dad must have got drafted by the Yankees at this point.
Leaving Yankee Stadium as he's getting traded.
Yeah. I mean, what is that even about? Like, usually, like, if you are a Major League Baseball player, your father you thought played in the major leagues, like, there is a big background check. And let me explain at a time where I played 16 games in the Yankees organization, and I didn't even make it back to the bus before they shipped me off to another organization. And we're not talking about, my great-great-grandfather who played in 1808 for the Red Stockings. Like, he played 2 games. Like, well, we can't verify that. Well, nobody can, so I get away with it here. You're talking about, like, the 1990s. Like, it's very easy just to go back and find exactly who got drafted, how much you played for, where you played, and there would be statistics showing up. So the fact is, like, man, look, my dad told me he played for the Yankees and got traded. Hates the Yankees. They didn't sign him twice here. So that's why I hate the Yankees, and I believe my dad. And it's like, well, wouldn't you, like, growing up, want to find out more about that story? Like, hey, what'd your dad do? Well, my dad played for the Yankees. No, he didn't. Like, I was like, bro, that sounds like me telling, like, my daughter stuff. Like, man, there's like, hey, dad, like, when they're 5 years old, like, I did play for the Eagles. They believe anything you say. Like, my dad did play for the Eagles. Like, you know what I mean? You see the Eagles helmet in my background or whatever? Yeah, I was an Eagles player. Like, that's something like I would do. But eventually, when my kid got 13, 14, or 15, and one of her friends came over and she goes, my dad played for the Eagles. I'm like, hey, so-and-so. I didn't play for the Eagles. Like, let's end this now. Yeah. Like, the story never ended? Well, the guy's in his 20s now? Stop.
Nobody ever checked Hunter Dobbins on that idea. Yeah. Nobody ever saw that picture as well. I was going to say, DRS, that sounds exactly like something you would have done to your daughter back in the day. Sure. You see these helmets, you see these record and accolades. I was the first ever Division III player out of William Patterson to be selected first overall by the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL draft. My mom, I mentioned yesterday, used to work at a law firm, right? She was the office administrator, but I just assumed growing up she worked at a law firm. My mom was a lawyer. I would tell all my friends my mom was this big-time lawyer. She had to correct me when I was like 9 or 10. Like, I'm not a lawyer. I just work at a law firm. I love that Lance Dobbins, Hunter's dad's like, F the Yankees, man. Keep telling everybody, even with his son reaching the major league level. Donnie, in the Red Sox media guide entering this season, there is an excerpt on Hunter Dobbins' dad, Lance, saying not that he played for the Yankees or were drafted by New York, but Lance Dobbins played 2 seasons in the Diamondbacks organization. That cannot even be substantiated at this moment. It is really good stuff.
Yeah, just let it go. Like, you imagine if you came home, like you're living out in California, you're telling people, hey, man, my mom was on the OJ case, like Johnny Cochran, my mom, it was Kardashian, like, and just running with that. And it was like, we can very easily verify this. Yeah, but look, don't fact check my mom. She told me she stood up for OJ over there, and I believe at this point, like, hey, hands off at this point. And then be like, you know what? The jig is up at this point, and now I just have to tell you guys, man, stop bothering me with this. Don't fact check anybody in my family.
Yeah.
You know what?
I've been the one saying,
follow this kid now. I like where he's going.
Yeah,
like
I've been the one saying my mom came up with, if it don't fit, you must have quit.
Yes.
And then I wait for
that
the
was my
Hulu
mom's glove they
reenactment
put on
of the OJ
exactly.
trial. My mom's not there next to Rob Kardashian. Yeah, that would have been something. I mean, it's a great story, and it's only going to get intensified, DRS, in this rivalry.
Yeah.
Frankly, we needed some juice in the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry. It was losing some luster. Wasn't even played on rivalry weekend around Major League Baseball. Hunter Dobbins set to make his next start after last Sunday in New York against the Yanks, on Saturday in Fenway against the New York Yankees. More MLB headlines and a check at the U.S. Open next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that rhythm. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, so outside of the Hunter Dobbins story with the Boston Red Sox and intensifying that rivalry between Boston and New York, some other news from a full Wednesday slate around Major League Baseball. Bad news, though, DRS, for Detroit. Not only were they beat yesterday in Baltimore 10-1, but one of their rookie starting pitchers who was off to a pretty solid start in his first full year in the bigs, Jackson Jobe. His rookie campaign has now been cut short. He is going to undergo Tommy John surgery. Never good news, of course, for a young and promising pitching prospect for the Tigers.
No, it's not. And again, it's not one of those things like, okay, we'll fix you up, we'll clean you up, you'll be ready for spring training. You're not. You're down for just about an entire season, and then you sort of fight your way back. So if we're talking about a guy that's going to get that Tommy John surgery in the next week or so, you can already mark off till next June, and you say, can he get back for next August, next September? And you don't even know if they're going to make it all the way back at that point with a devastating injury like that. The good part about it is so many players are getting this surgery where it's almost come like perfection, where you're tightening up that elbow so much you might even be able to throw harder when it comes back, but there's no expectations of a return to greatness. Remember Sandy Alcantara, one of the best pitchers in baseball, struggling now, just trying to work his way back here from that arm injury. Andrew Painter for the Philadelphia Phillies, one of the best prospects in baseball, struggling at AAA right now, trying to find his way back to the majors after Tommy John surgery. There's no guarantees here, and it takes so long to come back from.
44-25, the record for Detroit, but after the loss, DRS, no longer the best mark in Major League Baseball, which has really been the case for the Tigers the last month or so. It's now the New York Mets by a half game, 44-24, as the Mets have won 5 straight. They blanked the Nationals yesterday, winning 5-0 at home inside Citi Field. And speaking of blanking the opposition, David Peterson, complete game shutout for the Mets on the bump. You got Pete Alonso contributing at the dish. He's got 63 RBIs this season, the most in baseball. Juan Soto starting to warm up here in June, a 2-run home run. And Brandon Nimmo delivering 2 solo shots yesterday. The Mets have won 5 straight, 14 of their last 17. They're 44-24. That's the best record currently in the bigs.
Yeah, and how about their home record, 26-7, handling their business. And again, not playing great competition right now, but winning those games. That's what the most important thing is. And also, that pitching staff looks really good right now. Not a lot of household names that are having good pitching performances on a day-to-day basis, but they're hanging in there. So yeah, best record in baseball, best team right now, 44-24. It's New York Mets.
Yeah, DRS, if you are concerned about the Mets regressing to the mean, it is because these non-household names, these non-aces are delivering. But guys like Griffin Canning and David Peterson have been sensational this year for now the best team in baseball. Not the longest active winning streak, though, in the National League. That belongs to the San Francisco Giants. 7 consecutive for the Giants. They beat the Rockies yesterday in Denver, as you should. But they were trailing 6-1 early on, or 6-3, early on. They scored 7 total runs, DRS, did SF in the final 2 innings, the 8th and the 9th, to prevail for that 7th consecutive win. First win in this 7-game win streak, not just by a single run.
Yeah, and also, how about this? You know, I thought this game would say under 10.5 yesterday. They got 17 total runs. Robbie Ray has been fantastic. Roughed up just a little bit, but only 2 earned runs given up, even though he gave up 4 total runs. And then Kyle Freeland, who actually hasn't, that ERA of 5.13, playing Colorado, it's hard to get away from that. He can't get any wins, but 6 innings pitched and 3 earned runs in Colorado. That should be good enough for a victory, let alone a 3-run loss as San Francisco continues to hit. Let me check out my guy yesterday. What did he do? Lee, look at that. 1 hit, 3 at-bats, but scored 3 runs yesterday on base here with 2 walks. And Willie Adames continues to play, decent there, trying to come back. Average only 203, but damage yesterday, man. 3 RBIs and a bomb.
DRS, your Phils take the series finale and the rubber match at home. Jesus Luzardo, who was so great for Philadelphia to start the year, only 16 earned runs allowed in his first 11 starts, who had given up 20 earned runs in total in his last 2 entering yesterday. Really good against the Cubbies. 6 innings of work, only allowing a single earned run and striking out 10. The Phils win 7-10. They need to start stacking up some wins. They take the set against the Cubs.
Big series against the Cubs, but they came away with a victory here because understand this Bryce Harper down on the IL, but also a lot of base hits by the Philadelphia Phillies in this 3-game set with the Cubs. Take a look at their roster now, Ben. Turner over 300 at 303. Schwarber at 246, which again is very good for Kyle Schwarber. You expect him to be like 215, 220. But how about Alec Bohm starting to make his way around? 283 on the season. And Nick Castellanos, only 1 base knock yesterday, Ben, but 287 on the season, The problem is the 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, not really giving you anything. But you get Bryce Harper back in there, that first 5 guys able to do some damage. Maybe you can start to catch some lightning in a bottle. But a huge bounce-back performance for Luzardo. 1 earned run, 10 Ks, no walks. Yeah, it looks like he's back on track.
Snap a 7-series win streak for Chicago as well. The Braves needing to stack up some wins. They take the rubber match in Milwaukee. The Dodgers take the rubber match in San Diego against their Southern California rivals. And Aaron Judge hit a home run in his third consecutive game as the Yanks beat the Royals yesterday in Kansas City. All right, DRS, our third major championship of this season, the toughest test in golf. The 2025 United States Open now underway. It is opening round Thursday at Oakmont, which the players have described themselves as the hardest golf course in the world right now. It looks dangerous. It looks volatile. And yet, we see 12 guys in red figures under par. And JJ Spawn, 3 under DRS, in first by himself through his opening 7 holes. But Rory McIlroy only 1 shot back, 2 under, as is Siwoo Kim.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out throughout the afternoon because, as you said, like, yes, you can hit a ball into the water on certain golf courses, but if you hit your ball into the rough where you can't recover, those -3s, -2s, -1s quickly disappear to +1s, +2s, and +3s. We'll see how it plays out because I do think the way the weekend is going to go, Ben, will be subject to what we find out today. Like, does somebody get the 5 under par at Oakmont? And also, the USGA understands what carnage means. You want to have a good day on day number 1? Wait till you see what Friday's pin setup is, and we let that rough grow for day number 2. They've been known to do that, and I love that. Devious.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt, DRS. A pretty stacked leaderboard right now. Rory, 2 under. Adam Scott, also 1 under. Xander Schauffele, 1 under. Ludwig Oberg, 1 under. A lot of the pre-tournament betting favorites up near the top of the leaderboard. And Scotty Scheffler, of course, tees off later today at 1:25 p.m. Eastern. More on the early line next.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent the message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face, and after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a +340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
No one is going to pick Indiana. No one's going to pick Indiana to make it close, honestly. Like, you could get tremendous odds if you pick OKC in 7.
I think that taking the series over 5.5 games, the last 2 NBA Finals series ended in 5. I think this one goes 6. I think the Thunder will get the job done, but I think the Pacers are just too strong of a team and too talented of a team and too deep of a team to lose in 5 or fewer games.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Ready? Jacob! Yes! Oh! It was never in doubt! It was never in doubt! Oh, there's points falling out of my eyeballs! Oh, James Johnson to the 10! Everybody gets home! The 228.5 matters!
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
A championship type of week here on this Thursday on the early line on SportsGrid. The United States Open, our third major championship this year in golf, now underway in its first round. By the way, we will have a live check-in at Oakmont with our guy Keith Stewart a little bit later on in hour number 3. The Indiana Pacers hold a 2-1 series advantage after winning outright as a home underdog last night in game number 3 of the 2025 NBA Finals. And tonight, DRS, it is game number 4 of the 2025 Stanley Cup Final. 2 days off, but the same venue. That's in Sunrise, Florida, as the reigning champs, the Panthers, have a 2-1 series advantage. And after a decisive and dominant 6-1 victory in game number 3, Florida is very, very close to going back-to-back. Here are the odds right now ahead of game number 4. Of course, Edmonton, an ever so slight outright favorite to bring the cup back to Canada before this series got started. Over a $2 favorite after winning game number 1, in overtime. But Florida has responded with 2 consecutive wins and ahead of game number 4 on home ice tonight. The Panthers a minus 265 outright favorite, DRS, to win Lord Stanley's Cup for a second consecutive year.
Yeah, after game number 1, that victory in overtime by the Edmonton Oilers, like, oh man, that's a pretty juicy price here on the Panthers, maybe to climb back into the series with a game number 2 win. You're getting like around that plus 180 price point. And I said, that looks like a pretty good price. You probably should buy into that. Now, fast forward to a 2-1 series lead here for the Florida Panthers. I don't have that same optimism where I look at the Edmonton Oilers in the series price and say, you know what, now's the time to buy in at a plus 215 price. Are we shutting the door on the Edmonton Oilers that they can't make a series of this, get to at least game 6 or game number 7, or heck, even win the series? No, we're not. But I just don't get that same feeling after what I saw in game number 3. Now's the time to buy into the Oilers now that they're down in the series at a better price than you could have gotten to start the series, which they were a slight favorite. And also, no longer are we looking at those first 2 games or 3 games. Hey, minus 115s, minus 120s if you want to lay it. Now the Florida Panthers at the FanDuel Sportsbook today to win this game, minus 152, a plus 126 price on the opposite side for the Edmonton Oilers. After that game 3 performance, as I said, I'm feeling all Panthered up right now. They look like the better team here, even after 2 coin flips in game number 1s and 2. Everything could change, though, with an Oilers victory. But optimistic for me, I'm just not feeling that right now for the game tonight here for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, DRS, it really felt as though this series would go back and forth, more than likely seeing 7, as we did in the Cup final rematch a year ago. But a very different Stanley Cup, of course, as it played out last season. Florida opening up a 3-0 series advantage. Edmonton won game number 4, 8-1, and then won the next 2 to force that 7th game in Florida. We have talked about the stark similarities and yet those distinct differences as well. It was the Oilers this time around with home ice advantage. They win game number 1, so not falling in that 0-3 series deficit. And yet with how game 3 played out in Florida, with the first 2 games being decided in overtime, needing 2 OTs in game 2, we thought this was going to be decided with a razor-thin margin. Game 3 looked different. 6-1 win for Florida. The Panthers scoring multiple goals in every period. And not just that, DRS. The Panthers are known around the National Hockey League as being able to fluster their opposition, getting under the skin of their opponents. That's what it seemed like. Edmonton committed 21 total penalties as a team, and we had a couple of brawls in that 3rd and final period. Did not look great for the Oilers and that confidence. Do you still expect this, though, DRS, to get to 7 games? It's plus 135 in terms of the series total games and its distance here for the 2025 Cup Final.
It's hard to say yes. Like, again, if we would have had an overtime game in game number 3, you'd say, yeah, that probably makes some sense here. And depending who won game number 3, if it was the Edmonton Oilers, that sort of would surge up. But the fact that they got hammered in game number 3, which, again, a 2-1 series lead, and still an extra game on home ice now for the Florida Panthers. And the Florida Panthers are favored at minus 152 to win this game. So just looking at the odds market here, they're expected to go up 3-1 in this series, which means we probably aren't getting to a game number 7. So based on just what we saw, the short series so far, 3 games, I don't think we're going 7 because, again, I don't have good vibes for Edmonton. But just like the Pacers to start their series, I don't think they can win it. Hopefully they can be competitive. Come on, Edmonton, surprise us tonight. Win that game in Florida. Let's go back to Edmonton here, tied at 2-2, and away we go in a best of 3. Then we're getting 7 games at that point, right? But tonight, I still think the Florida Panthers are the better team, and they probably win this game.
Florida, a minus 152 home ice favorite. It is the largest margin on the money line we have seen in favor of any team so far in this Cup final. Total is 6.5. Once again, all 3 games have skied to the over, whether it's needed overtime or, of course, in game 3 in regulation. And Sam Bennett for the Panthers, who has scored 4 total goals and in every single game, is now that Conn Smythe favorite, not Connor McDavid. Mark Zinno doing the show next.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Foul him! Ralph!
Freddie,
Jacob! Yes! Oh! It was never in doubt! It was never in doubt! Oh, there's points falling out of my eyeballs! Oh, James Johnson to the chin! Everybody gets home!
In-game live. Only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on this Thursday on the Early Line on SportsGrid. We welcome on our good friend Mark Zinno joining us here on TEL. Zinno, this week it's mandatory minicamp around the National Football League, really a set of about 3 practices. So today really ends minicamp for a lot of the clubs around the NFL, and then they go into their summer break. They have just over a month before the Rooks start showing up for training camp in late July. So this is really it. Late in the offseason, voluntary OTAs into mandatory minicamp. We get your thoughts on some quarterback battles around the National Football League here on this Thursday. We thank you for being here.
Always great to be with you guys. I'm still recovering from the shock that I've been watching in the NBA Finals, and every Oklahoma City ticket that you have now is in danger of going up in smoke.
It does seem as though, Mark Zinno, that could be the case. Let's start with where one of the NBA Finals competitors plays their home basketball. That's Indianapolis, of course. The city of Indy feeling great right now. First NBA Finals game in 2.5 decades inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse in downtown Indianapolis, and a win to show for it. How about the Colts, though? Maybe the vibe's not so high. As we shared yesterday, Anthony Richardson not participating at minicamp because of a shoulder issue. He is resting. They hope to have him back by training camp, but Zinno, no clear timetable for his return at any stage of this offseason. Outside of the injury concerns around AR, who has only played 15 total games in his first 2 years in the NFL, there were also the concerns around accuracy. And if Anthony Richardson could be a sustainable and successful starting quarterback entering his 3rd NFL season. And Mark Zinno, according to the odds makers, he might not even be the starting quarterback entering his 3rd season come week number 1. Daniel Jones, now the favorite on FanDuel at -166 to be that week 1 starter for the Colts. Zinno, ultimately, when this quarterback battle is decided, who's starting the season opener for Indy?
It's going to be Daniel Jones. I mean, look, it's obvious at this point in time, the Colts realized the flyer they took on Anthony Richardson was a mistake. They wouldn't have brought somebody else in who's a starting caliber quarterback if they had thought otherwise, right? Regardless of how good Daniel Jones is or isn't, he's a starting caliber quarterback in this league. He's one of 32 guys who has the capability to start. Again, he's not a high-level starter, It's not very good. I know that personally. I watched a lot of it. I sat through some of it. I cried often. But nonetheless, this is what Daniel Jones is. He can start in this league, and he's there simply because the Colts are trying to hang on to this thing called Anthony Richardson for as long as they can to keep the egg off their face, which I do not understand. I will always give credit to the Arizona Cardinals. They drafted Josh Rosen. They knew about 6 games in it didn't work. They punted on the experiment, drafted a new quarterback, and got him right out of town. Fine. Totally okay. Like, it's okay to say we made a mistake, cut bait, and get out. No teams want to do that. The Falcons won't do it with Kirk Cousins. This goes on and on all the time. Instead of just cutting bait and moving on from a bad decision, they want to make this thing hang on and last and hover over the organization like there's some chance this could work out. We all know Anthony Richardson is not a starter in the NFL right now.
Here's the question that I want to ask and pose to you here, Mark, when you take a look at Anthony Richardson, because let's just say 3 weeks ago, Ben and I had this conversation where it was like, no matter what it looks like in training camp, if Anthony Richardson is healthy, he will be the day one starting quarterback, because they're just trying to give him one final look to see, go through an offseason, command the huddle, win some football games in September, let's see what happens. So now it looks like we're not even going to get to that point. So is this a part where, like, Daniel Jones might be a little bit shaky and they're under 500, then you put Richardson back in? Or could this be quite possibly like, we're just never going to go back to this kid and even give any hope, because what are we going to do this every single year till we finally get a look at the guy 6 years into the NFL? What is the future for Anthony Richardson this season in Indianapolis?
I mean, it's Daniel Jones' job to put a fork into the Anthony Richardson experiment, right? That's his sole purpose, is to play good enough for 17 games, keep you close to a postseason berth, if not get in the postseason, and eliminate the Anthony Richardson experiment. Now, if Daniel Jones plays, I've seen Daniel Jones play at times, the door is going to be open for Anthony Richardson to get back in this thing. And yes, that's what the Colts are going to do, because they're going to hang on. They're going to try to squeeze every last ounce of juice out of this lemon to see what they have from it, in order to say that, hey, we tried everything we could. We looked at every option. We gave him multiple opportunities. It just didn't work out. You already know the answer. It doesn't work out. But Daniel Jones is there. It's his job to lose. It's his job to make sure Anthony Richardson doesn't touch a football field again.
And of course, as Zinno is alluding to, a ton of investment by Indianapolis when you select a guy 4th overall in the 2023 NFL draft, but sometimes it just does not work. Anthony Richardson last season in 11 games played, 47.7 was the completion percentage, the worst among any qualified quarterback in the National Football League a season ago. The only one sub 50, and the only one of quarterbacks who played in at least 10 games to be worse than 60%. 7.5 the win total for Indianapolis. Year number 3 under Shane Steichen as well. 9-8 in 2023, 8-9 a season ago. They went 8-9 a season ago, and Joe Flacco got a couple of those wins for Indianapolis. Now Joe Flacco, Mark Zinno, is back in Cleveland, where he played to end out 2023, started the final 5 games, led Cleveland to 11 wins and a playoff spot. The veteran 40-year-old signal caller back with Cleveland, and is the favorite in a jumbled quarterback room to be that starter for the Browns week number 1. Some shifting odds in these prices. Flacco no longer a minus money favorite ever so slightly, but plus 110. Kenny Pickett 2-1. Shedeur Sanders now has the longest price of the 4 by himself at 7-1. Dylan Gabriel in front at plus 500. Zinno, it is a very jumbled quarterback room in Cleveland. ESPN Cleveland tracking the stats throughout team activities through voluntary OTAs and minicamp. When all is said and done, come week number 1, who should Kevin Stefanski start as the Browns QB?
Well, who should he start and who will they start are two different things, right? But, I mean, he should start one of the 2 rookies. Throw him in there, throw him to the Wolves and see what you got. That's the reality of it. And if Shedeur Sanders is the most talented and most competent, it should be him. Joe Flacco is going to get the starting job. That's really what this boils down to. There's not a legitimate world where Kenny Pickett actually should ever see the field. Like, I'm not sure what he's even there for at this point in time. Like, I got to be – I'm not really sure the way this whole thing went down, how he figured into it. Look, Kenny Pickett is not a starting quarterback in the NFL, period. And if you got 2 rookies that you drafted, the hell you have him around for? Because if Flacco falters, just give it to the rookie. You know what Kenny Pickett is and isn't. I know what he is. He's masquerading as an NFL quarterback. I know what he's not, a starter in this league. So there's no reason he should ever see the field, in my opinion. But again, Joe Flacco is going to start the season, and until he turns into a pick-six machine, which he eventually will, and don't get me wrong, I love Joe Flacco. I covered him closely, was friends with him for years in Baltimore. He's a great man. He's a good father, but he's not an NFL. He's not a guy I want to trust with my team anymore. He throws the ball to the other team way too often. There's a lot of upside to him, what he can do, as we've seen, but there's a lot of – it's very Jameis Winston feel, minus all the goofiness and the media and everything else. It's kind of what it is.
When you see right now, Mark Zinno, the Cleveland Browns, where they win total of 5.5, most juice on the under for any team with that win total of 5 and a hook at -160, which does mean the Browns are expected to be the worst team in the NFL in 2025. Is that your outlook for Cleveland as well?
I mean, it really just depends on consistency at the quarterback position, right? Like, I mean, that's if somehow Joe Flacco turns a 5 and 6 game sample size into, 15 to 16 quality games where he's not just killing his team, they have a shot to win a lot more than this. I mean, look, if they win 2 division games, that's really what this boils down to. If they win 2 division games, there's probably 4 other wins on their schedule against 6. If they can't win 2, they're going to be in real trouble to get over that number.
Yeah, it seems as though they might be. For what it's worth, I think Kenny Pickett should be the starter in Cleveland. Let the guy rip and see if he's got anything else left in the tank. More QB battles with Zinno next.
Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make a case for the Rangers. They showed some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers would tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The theme with Mark Zinno today is quarterback battles around the National Football League and the odds associated on the FanDuel Sportsbook. We hit on probably the most 2 competitive, either based on injury or just a lot of cooks in the kitchen. That, of course, would be Indianapolis with the concerns around Anthony Richardson's shoulder and, of course, the jumbled QB room with the Cleveland Browns. Now let's go to New Orleans, where Mark Zinno earlier in the offseason, of course, Derek Carr announces his retirement after 2 seasons in the Big Easy 11 in total of his NFL career, paving the way for the second-round pick this past April out of Louisville, Tyler Shuck, to be that starting quarterback. Might be a rookie, but the guy turns 26 years old come September. So, Zinno, I'm not going to ask you, do you believe Kellen Moore starts Tyler Shuck? The odds are telling us at a minus 310 price that is most likely at this moment. What I'm going to ask you is, how do you expect Shuck to perform early on in his rookie season?
Well, you should ask me, do you believe that Kellen Moore feels like he made a mistake taking the Saints job? Because the answer is yes, because this is starting out well. Like, that's,
good answered.
They got bait and switched here on Kellen Moore, thinking he was getting something, and he's got something completely different. Look, I mean, just from the standpoint of the rest of the quarterback room, Spencer Dobbins cannot compete at an NFL level on a long-term basis, and Jay Kaner is not the answer, right? So it's Tyler Shook. Now, on the upside for Shook here, Ben, and you'll know this and you'll back me up here, the Brahms system at Louisville is one that NFL quarterbacks have benefited from, right? It's a good passing offense. It's a pro-style offense. They ask a lot of their quarterbacks to do. So Shook is well-positioned here, and he's at least given Kellen Moore a little something to work with here in his rookie season. How much can they keep him upright? How much can they protect him? I mean, what sort of offense? How dumbed down is it to start early on? How much will they expand it? I mean, all these things remain to be seen. But there is a world where, much similar, and I don't want to put these two coaches side by side, to what Sean Payton slowly brought along Bo Nix in Denver, that Kellen Moore, who's a good offensive mind, can slowly bring along Tyler Shook here. And by the time we're at week 12, 13, as long as Shook is healthy, there may look like a really productive quarterback in New Orleans. So I certainly understand where they're going here, but the real question is what does the rest of this offense look like? I mean, what sort of weapons are there? What's left? I get Chris Olave is still there. Alvin Kamara is still there. But what else is really on this offense that gives a young rookie a lot of, safety nets and security blankets to work with? I don't know if they necessarily have a ton. And this also is a Saints defense that may be trailing a lot or forcing Shook to be trailing a lot in games. That could be a problem.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough season in New Orleans. The interesting part about that quarterback room, too, is usually you have like the older vet in there say, hey, young guys in the room, let me teach them. I mean, come on. Hayner's out here and Rattler, they're going to teach Shuck what he needs to know at this point. And also, Shuck, not that 19, 20, 21-year-old kid, obviously in his mid-20s already. I don't think we have a lot of optimism here for the New Orleans Saints moving forward. I'm talking about Olave. I mean, that guy's one hit away from just being done in the NFL, plain and simple. Not a lot of great looks there in New Orleans. So when we talk about differentiating quarterback rooms, hey, passion of yours certainly talking about the New York Giants, and we focus on Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, and Jameis Winston. Now, for me, I'm at a crossroads here. Like, I have a low ticket here, Mark. 3.5 games that the Giants need to win. And I say, all right, they got Russell Wilson. That's a vet that could play all 17 games. And then I go, well, is Russ playing all 17 games, Mark, if they're 1-7 to start the season and you just go to the rookie here at Jackson Dart at 12-1, making that opening day numbers? What's going on with the Giants room, and how does this actually play out?
Well, I'm at a crossroads with you, not only from my fandom standpoint, but DRS, you and I were doing the show the same day when that Giants total was posted. You got 3.5. You beat me 2, and I got 4.5. The Giants. Yes, you were not here, Ben. You had a night off, a day off. You were long gone. So DRS and I jumped all over the Giants win total. I have a 4.5. You have a 3.5 ticket, and I'm rooting for the Giants to at least get 5 wins here. Now that said, I'm at a crossroads with my fandom because I don't want to watch this team. Period. There's nothing I suppose the defense is going to be good, but kind of really irritated at everything that they've done. If Russell Wilson, here's the thing. Russell Wilson is good enough, we've seen, wherever he's been the last 2 or 3 years, to start a sample size of about 7 games to be very good, right? That's his, limit right now. He gets 7 games where he's going to play at an above average to high level, and he's going to help his team be competitive in games and probably win them. Now, with the Giants defense, that may be enough to get us home with our tickets here, DRS. I don't think with Russell Wilson, they're going to start out that badly. But remember, if you flash that schedule up there, my God, hit the Giants in the head with a bat to start this season. They might be 0-4 before you can even go hit the can. Forget about it. They're not going to see a win until week 5. So that's the problem. And then, oh, by the way, by the time you get to week 9, you might only have 1 win. Because if you beat the Saints, great. If somehow you can't beat the Broncos, you ain't beating the Eagles. We know that. You're not better than the Niners. I mean, this is all going to come for us, DRS, on the back end. Yeah. And the real question is, which quarterback is left standing at the end of this thing, it's a brutal schedule. It's a brutal, and the Giants defense is going to have to do something miraculous. And I got to tell you, honestly, you want me to give you their best chance to get over this total? Steal week 1 against Washington, who's going to be reading their own press clippings, believing how good they are, and thinking about the NFL title again and going, hey, we're worried about week 2 and we got somebody else to play. No. The Giants defense could sneak up on them and sneak up on them fast in that game. And that may be the best chance to get over that win total is stealing week 1.
It feels like the Giants should be better this year, but it is the most difficult schedule in the National Football League for 2025. In the context of all this situation, Mark Zinno, is very interesting because it could be the final year under the guidance of Joe Shane, the GM, and head coach Brian Daboll. So let me ask you the question that you almost posed to yourself right there. Those are the week 1 starting quarterback odds. In the final 30 seconds of this segment, what have I asked you week 8? Week 13, week 18, starting quarterback. Who would be the favorite to start for the G-Men?
I have said this for as long as I've been in sports media. How you win doesn't matter. How you lose always matters. How are the Giants losing with Russell Wilson under center? If they're competitive in games and he's not turning the ball over, he's going to hang on to the job. The coaches aren't stupid. They know these are better teams playing. So as long as he's taking care of the football and being smart with it, he'll hang on to this job. If he's making a ton of mistakes, Jackson Dart, welcome to the NFL.
It will be interesting to see what Dart's future is this season with New York. Some other rookie news around the NFL up next.
Maybe they are the best team out in the West because a rooting interest for me, Tom, always the Mariners. Hey, they're finally getting the hitting back, but now that's starting to slide.
We can make the case for the Rangers. They shore up some things. A team that the Rangers, you and I were both very high on coming into the season. They make a shot for the wild card. But I do think it's going to be a two-team race between the Astros and the Mariners, and that's really about it.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Does a guy like Giannis fit onto that roster if you can make some of those changes?
I just don't see a KD pursuit as being realistic for the Knicks. But hey, if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat, as Leon Rose oftentimes can, I'd go after Giannis in a heartbeat. It's just, what type of package could they entice for the Milwaukee Bucks? And is it a 3 or 4 team trade? It gets a little bit tricky in that regard.
You see the Knicks there with a plus 340 price.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on this Thursday on the early line on SportsGrid, quarterback battles throughout mandatory minicamp and the remainder of this offseason around the NFL, and also some news, on this Thursday to end out minicamp in a couple of spots. That includes what has only been described as a tumultuous offseason defensively, represented here in minicamp for the Cincinnati Bengals. Trey Hendrickson not there. They cut Jermaine Pratt earlier in the week. He is now signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. And the unsigned 17th overall pick of the first round, Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M, who had been at rookie minicamp, just not participating in workouts, who had been at OTAs, again, just not participating, and in the first 2 days of minicamp this week had been there watching, just not going through the drills or the practices. This update, Zinno, from ESPN's Adam Schefter. Shamar Stewart now has left mandatory minicamp. Stewart had been attending team activities, but without a signed rookie contract, and with the Bengals asking for certain default clauses, Shamar Stewart no longer there at minicamp for the Bengals. Zinno, what is your takeaway about this standstill between the rookie Shamar Stewart and the Bengals front office?
Well, what Adam Schefter says is true, that the Bengals are asking for certain default clauses to keep money in their pockets and take it away from a rookie, in which all of these draft picks are now slotted. This should not – the CBA prevented this situation from happening, period. It's all slotted money. It's easy to figure out. There's not much negotiating until you get a team like the Bengals who wants to do this. I keep telling you guys, this Bengals team is not worth your money to bet on. I do not care that Joe Burrow is the quarterback. Zach Taylor's an awful coach. This is a bad front office. The ownership is still proving once again that they're incompetent. Do not invest any of your money on the Cincinnati Bengals. They are not worth it. And this is of where the Bengals are headed, that they are going to end up getting this team torn down and making the players so disgruntled that they no longer want to be there anymore. And I would make a bet right now, Joe Burrow does not finish his career in a Bengals uniform.
You know what's the funny part about that, Mark, is it's a good statement that you have. Because remember, Carson Palmer's like, I hate this team so much, I just don't want to play. And the Bengals like, cool, we don't have to pay for the next year or two. And then, of course, the Raiders came in with like 2 first-round draft picks and pried them loose from that ridiculousness. But if Joe Burrow came out tomorrow and was like, I really want to get traded from the Bengals, they'd be like, you know what? How much does he make in the next 3 years? Well, I think we owe him $90 million. Oh, my God, if he sits out and we lose every game, but just think, we save $90 million off the books. Like, that's the Bengals for me. That's what they root for. Like Trey Hendrickson, when I talk about him so many times, Mark, it's like they go, he can miss this weekend and we can charge him $100,000. Like, that is fantastic. We hope he doesn't even show up for the regular season. We'll save all of his salary and be like, wait a second. You're supposed to win championships here and the way you build toward it. Because, Mark, understand this, right? You're heading into a season. Everybody's supposed to be pulling in the right direction to win a Super Bowl. Why are the Bengals every single year fighting with their best players over money they should already be receiving?
I mean, again, the worst thing to happen to that franchise was them to make that Super Bowl run. It literally was the worst thing to happen because it did 2 things. One, it made you think you're better than what you were, what you're not. And 2, it gave everybody a little bit of sense of security that, hey, we're going to be good forever, that, hey, we can duplicate this again, that, hey, guess what? You know what? We're still going to be one of the top teams in the league. No, you're not. You have a bad coach, okay? You have bad front office, and ownership is getting in the way of making this team competitive year in and year out. This is the future of the Cincinnati Bengals. Sorry, Bengals fans. This is the reality you knew was coming.
Yeah, and listen, if you want to look at where issues are year over year and you change a head coach and you change a front office, although the front office in Cincy has not been changed because Duke Tobin either has some dirt on Mike Brown or is his best friend, you're going to see the same issues. You want to point to one reason for a bad organization, ownership is often that. So, in the final minute of this segment, another hot topic for you. The Hunter Dobbins fiasco or saga, if you will, that we started this second hour with. What do you make of it? Is it a big deal? Does it kind of ignite the rivalry flames of the Red Sox and the Yankees?
Well, lesson 1 as a father, don't lie to your kids about how good of an athlete you were. That's number 1. Kids, daddy never got drafted. It's okay to say that, okay? Daddy was never a Major League Baseball player. They still love you there, Mr. Dobbins. Hunter's still going to give you a hug at night. Beyond that, I'm actually here for it. Why? Because I will have anything that will spark this rivalry again. The Yankees-Red Sox has been dead for a decade. It's not even what it ever used to be. Bring me back to 03-04, as much as I hated it when the Red Sox won, but bring me back to that level of intensity where these games were 4 hours long. They were a slugfest, a grindfest, and it ripped your heart out. Let's go. Bring me some life back.
Never lie to your kids about being drafted in a professional sport. But also never let them miss the Super Bowl to go see Dogman. Mark Zinno, we appreciate it.
Oh, man.
Hour 3 next.
Wow.